Hello guys, my name is King and welcome to another Lightroom Classic tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to color grade your photos in Lightroom Classic. To begin, I have this photo over here that I have added my personal color touch to it. First, you want to ensure that you're in the Develop tab over here. Now expand the color grading tab over here. If you see it closed like this, what you need to do is to come over to the color grading tab over here and expand it. Now to see what this image originally looked like, I'm going to turn off this color grading effect so you can see what it initially looked like. And now you can see what it looked like after color grading it. Now for us to begin this tutorial, I'm going to come over to settings over here and select reset all settings so that we can color grade this from scratch. Now under this tab, we have the three-way color grading UI with all these color grading wheels that we need over here, which is the midtones, the shadows, and the highlights. Also, we have some sliders under them over here that helps us to adjust the luminance of each of them. And you could adjust the settings for each of them over here, or you could come up here to these more advanced settings over here. For example, I could come over here and select shadows and get this whole wheel for shadows and a broader luminance slider under shadow. And if I come over to midtones over here, I have a more advanced settings under midtones and the same thing for my highlights over here. For this kind of color grade, I always prefer to begin with my highlights over here. So come over to the highlight tab over here and you will see that we have the luminance slider over here. And if we scroll down, you will see that we also have the blending slider and the balance slider. Now, the blending and the balance sliders are not specific for the highlights, but are universal for all three categories. Now, if you come over here and select this arrow over here, you'll notice that we also have hue and saturation slider over here, which gives us better control in our color grading. To begin, I will drag my hue slider a bit to somewhere between the yellow and the orange color over here. And you will notice that the color did not change. And that is because we need to also come over to saturation over here and increase the saturation to see that effect applied. I'm going to increase my saturation over here a lot. If you don't want to use the slider over here, you could come over here to the wheel and adjust the sliders from this portion over here. I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to undo that. If you want to move the hue only, just hold down Ctrl and you can move the hue to wherever you want. And if you want to move the saturation, hold down Shift and you can move the saturation however you like. I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to undo all of that. Finally, we have one slider left here, which is the luminance. If I drag the luminance to the left, I am making this video darker. And if I drag this luminance to the right, I'm making it brighter. I'm going to set my luminance up to 65. Next, come over to the midtone over here. I'm just going to increase my hue a little bit to somewhere between the same yellow and orange. I'm going to set my midtone over here to 54. And I'm going to move my saturation very slightly. I'm going to increase this to 3 because I also want it to have this warm feel of yellow and orange over here. And I'm going to increase my luminance over here to somewhere around 67. Next, let's come over to the shadow over here. With the shadow over here, I always prefer to go in the opposite direction, which means that I'm going to move my shadow around the opposite direction, somewhere around the blue over here. So I'm going to increase my hue to somewhere around 246. And my saturation, I'm going to increase it just slightly to somewhere around 8. And my luminance, I'm going to take it down to make the image dark. If I take it up, the image will be too bright. So I'm going to take it down to add some shadow contrast to it. So I'm going to take my luminance down to somewhere around minus 83. Lastly, I will adjust the blending and the balance over here. Now the blending over here defines how much shadows, midtones, and highlights are overlapping. I'll set my blending over here to somewhere around 77. And the balance over here, if I move it to the right, it makes my photo look warm. And if I take it to the left, it makes my photo look like it was shot in a cold region. I'm going to reduce this to somewhere around minus 43. And if I come over here and deselect, you can see what we initially had. And now if I select this back on, you can see what we have. And that's it guys on how to color grade your photos in Lightroom Classic.